Here we are again with Sundry News for Wednesday, August 12th. We'll start with this evening's Daily Shapiro. Curl. Beware the secret Trump voters. They are out there, despite what the polls say. I believe it too. Because you get seriously frowned at for saying anything positive about Trump. So some people just don't want the hassle. But that doesn't mean that their minds have changed. Tucker Carlson. There are timeshare salesmen more trustworthy than Kamala Harris. Funny. Report. New York City moved convicted pedophiles very near to elementary school. Okay. New York City, just mistake after mistake after mistake, and fucking de Blasio is way too arrogant to ever admit that. I don't understand why Governor Cuomo a while back threatened to have de Blasio removed from office, but then nothing ever came of it, and things are just seeming worse and worse and worse in New York City. Cuomo really should have grown some balls and acted on his words. Walsh. The left celebrates woman VP pick, forgetting that women no longer exist according to their ideology. Yeah. No such thing as biological sex. Although I'm not sure which left you're talking about is celebrating it. I've heard that most people fucking hate it. Trump. If Biden can stand up and breathe, media will say it's one of the greatest debate performances in history. That's funny too. I hope we do have debates. I mean, there's no reason to cancel them. There's no good reason to cancel them. Obviously, the reason would be that Biden can't actually stand up and breathe and talk and make any sense at all. But that's not a good reason, because if he wants to be president, if people are going to vote for him, they need to know what's up. Moving on, Louder with Crowder newsletter. Trump just tweeted a video on Biden's racism problem that is brutal. Democrats want to make the 2020 election about race. It's clear from the headlines of Joe Biden choosing Kamala Harris this morning. The media wants that too. None of the conversations about the something. Yeah, Joe Biden definitely has a racism problem. Tucker Carlson blasts Brian Stelter. That was headline yesterday. I'm not gonna read about that because I already did. I'm not gonna read it again. Steven Crowder on full George Floyd tape. Yes, I watched that, and I don't believe that there would not have been riots if the tape had been released, because people just want to find hate and racism everywhere, even where it's not. And but they're obviously going to be hard-pressed to prove murder. Donald Trump just dropped a attack ad against Kamala Harris. It's brutal. It's come to this. Common sense about the panic from Larry the Cable Guy. Well, honestly, that's not very surprising. Anyway. The Daily Yahoo. Goya CEOs cozying up to Trump may have backfired, study shows. Bullshit. It's been 1 month since Robert Unanue, CEO of Goya Foods, created a furor by praising President Trump during a White House meeting, and after that his sales skyrocketed. Whatever. Children in Beirut suffer from trauma after deadly blast. When the huge explosion ripped through Beirut last week, it shattered the glass doors near where 3-year-old Abed Itani was playing with his Lego blocks. Like thousands of others in Lebanon, he is grappling with trauma. Well, it's only been a week. Kids are more resilient than older people. Especially little kids like that. Trump says he is inclined to host G7 meeting after the November 3rd election. U.S. President Donald Trump said on Monday he is interested in hosting a Group of Seven summit in a calmer atmosphere after the November presidential election, and that he has not decided whether to invite Russian President Vladimir Putin. All right. I'm not so sure that there will be a calmer atmosphere, but, do what you want to do. Turkish ship starts energy search amid standoff with Greece. A Turkish seismic research vessel has begun surveying for energy resources in contested areas of the eastern Mediterranean, Turkey's energy minister said Wednesday, amid an escalation of tensions between rivals Greece and Turkey over oil and gas exploration rights. Turkey's seismic surveying ship Orukai? No, probably not. Can Greece afford to have problems with other countries? I thought they were still, super bankrupt. Lucid Air EV has a projected 517 miles of range, and we saw EV, electric vehicle. We saw 458 miles on a real-world ride-along. The startup's electric sedan gets a Tesla beating by far EPA estimated range. We rode along as the CEO drove a prototype and got close to achieving it. That's nice. Although, the question is, would its capabilities degrade over time? Because, that's generally a problem with electric, anything, everything, batteries. 3 retirement savings questions you have to ask yourself if you're unemployed. Retirement probably isn't top of your mind if you've lost your job due to the panic, but there's no denying the present circumstances will affect your retirement plans. Here are 3 questions you should ask yourself about your retirement savings if you've recently lost your job. From Motley Fool. That one could be useful to read for somebody. Know where the candidates stand. Not on the debate stage. At least not yet. Hopefully. Election day is coming. Yep, and Yahoo News is not the trusted source to get all your election news from which to get all your election news. And there's Yahoo Search. And trending now is Thandie Newton, Madeleine Westerhouse, coronavirus, Emily Hunt, Prudential Life Insurance, Toyota RAV4 sale, Madeleine Westerhout? Are those supposed to be the same person? And people got their names confused? Lauren Silverman, Oriental Area Rug, Camilla Luddington. And last but not least is 1440 in partnership with Weave. Good morning, it's Wednesday, August 12th, and we are covering Biden's VP pick, more details on the Russian vaccine, and unrest in Belarus. Need to know, Biden picks Harris. Maybe it was Biden. Maybe it was Biden's handlers that told him he was picking Harris. Just saying. Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden ended months of speculation, selecting California Senator Kamala Harris as his vice presidential running mate. Harris, who began as the early favorite, becomes the first Black and South Asian woman on a presidential ticket for a major party. The daughter of 2 immigrants, her mother's Indian, her father Jamaican, Harris previously served as California Attorney General before being elected to the Senate. The pick was generally lauded by many in the party, though some progressive Democrats have criticized Harris for her tough-on-crime stance as a prosecutor. Because being tough on crime is a bad thing. This election comes ahead of the presidential conventions. Both Democrats and Republicans are going almost entirely virtual. The Democratic convention will begin Monday, while the Republican convention will be held the following week, August 24th through 27th. The schedule is still being developed, though President Trump is set to formally accept the nomination Thursday, August 27th. Despite the anticipation, conventional wisdom says the vice presidential pick has a fairly limited effect, 2016 analysis, on the election. Well, in this case, it might be a negative effect. Russia unveils unproven vaccine. Russia became the first country to grant regulatory approval for a potential vaccine against the coronavirus. President Vladimir Putin announced yesterday. Oh, that was a comma. Against the coronavirus, President Vladimir Putin announced yesterday. Despite the announcement, experts warn the country has not actually confirmed a successful vaccine due to the lack of clinical trials. Vaccines typically go through 3 phases of testing prior to approval. The first, less than 100 people, focuses on safety and side effects, while the second, 100 to 300 people, examines safety and effectiveness. In the case of SARS-CoV-2, it studies whether the drugs spur the production of virus-neutralizing antibodies. The third phase, which involves thousands of participants, provides a statistical demonstration of a vaccine's efficacy and broad safety. Per reports, Russian regulators granted approval before the Phase 3 trial began and are planning a mass vaccination campaign in the fall during which patients will be tracked. Oh my goodness. At least 8 other vaccines around the world are currently in Phase 3 trials. Putin's own daughter received the shot. Another surprise is Putin rarely acknowledges he has children. At least one of which he's willing to use as a guinea pig before he takes the plunge himself. Separately, the U.S. has reported 5.14 million total cases with 164,537 deaths, allegedly, as of this morning. See rolling averages of new cases and deaths. Opposition candidate flees Belarus. The main opposition candidate in the Belarus election, Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, has fled the country for Lithuania, according to reports yesterday. Tikhanovskaya. The move comes amid increasingly violent protests in the Eastern European country, which erupted after Sunday's elections. Rife with allegations of voter fraud and election interference, the election resulted in 80% of the vote granting a 6th term to authoritarian President Alexander Lukashenko, nicknamed Europe's last dictator. Oh, really? What about Putin? I know Russia is mostly in Asia, but it's also in Europe, so why is that not his? Hundreds of demonstrators protesting have been detained, with police using stun grenades, rubber bullets, and tear gas against the crowd. European Union officials said they would consider sanctions against the country, while the Belarusian government blocked the country's internet access to slow protest organizers. Tikhanovskaya was a fascinating, though accidental, candidate. The 37-year-old stay-at-home mother and former English teacher stood in for her opposition candidate husband after his arrest. She rapidly gained popularity, drawing tens of thousands of supporters at rallies, with some fans comparing her to a modern-day Joan of Arc. Interesting. By yesterday, videos surfaced of Tikhanovskaya calling on protesters to accept the results, at least one of which may have been made under duress. Even from Lithuania? Or maybe it was made before she fled. Communicate with your customers with Weave. In the world of business today, there's no rule, that we can think of at least, so important as delight your customers. I've never heard it put quite that way. Give them free shipping, or send them little gifts, or write them nice emails. We know a thing or two about that. And above all, communicate with your customers actively to keep them happy. While that may have been no small task in the past, Weave Lite is making a customer communication easier and easier. Weave Lite. Okay. Is making customer communication easier and easier every day. Regardless of the size of your business, you can now easily reach the people who keep the lights on. Weave Lite combines 4 incredibly useful tools to make the entire customer life cycle seamless and delightful, from text messaging to team chat to Google review collection to text to pay. It's all bundled up nicely in one product for your ease and your customers' benefit. So give Weave Lite a try today. They know that COVID-19 has affected businesses of all sizes across the world, so they're offering a free 3-month trial for anyone who signs up. Your customers await. Get started today. Please support our sponsors. In the know. Sports, entertainment, and culture. Big Ten and Pac-12 conferences officially announced they are postponing college football and other fall sports. The Spring League, a developmental professional football league, to host a 6-team tournament in a bubble in Las Vegas. Never heard of that. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air drama reboot, co-produced by Will Smith's Westbrook Studios and Universal TV in the works. Drama reboot. Raymond Allen, 70s sitcom star best known for Sanford and Son and Good Times, dies at 91. Portland Timbers top Orlando City 2-1 to win MLS's back tournament. MLS regular season resumes today. Science and technology. Molecule inspired by llamas shown to be one of the most potent anti-coronavirus compounds to date. Known as nanobodies, the molecule could potentially be aerosolized and administered via inhalation. Llamas. Inspired by llamas? Strange. Google to establish a global earthquake monitoring program using the accelerometer in Android-powered phones. Users would opt in to the voluntary project. That sounds pretty cool. It's just another thing that Google is going to be in control of, though. Google's pretty scary. New process converts red pigment in bricks into plastic that conducts electricity, allowing common bricks to be used as energy storage devices. Neato. Business and markets, brought to you by Masterworks. U.S. stock markets down, S&P 500 down 0.8%, Dow down 0.4%, Nasdaq down 1.7% as uncertainty grows over stimulus deal. Fucking Democrats, man. Japanese tech giant SoftBank reports $12 billion quarterly profit following largest loss ever in first quarter. Sources say Airbnb plans to file IPO by end of August, Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs to lead the offering. Tesla announces 5-to-1 stock split. Shares surge 6% in after-hours trading. We're straight shooters, so let's talk numbers. Did you know that blue chip art has outperformed the S&P by 180% since 2000, according to Citi? Masterworks is an exclusive platform that lets you invest in art at a fraction of the normal price. Skip the 25,000 waitlist now. Politics and world affairs. Election 2020. Progressive Democrat Representative Ilhan Omar fends off primary challenge. Boo. Businesswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene beats neurosurgeon John Cowan in Georgia 14 Republican primary. Greene has drawn criticism for supporting QAnon conspiracy. Seattle Police Chief Carmen Best to step down September 2nd. Decision follows Monday vote by City Council to trim police department by 100 officers via layoffs and attrition. A lot of those are minority officers. And Carmen Best is a black woman, and yet that's who's being squeezed out. Because Black Lives Matter. New Zealand reports 4 locally transmitted coronavirus cases, breaking 102-day streak without infections. All-in-one communication, in partnership with Weave. Weave Lite thinks choosing one customer communication product will hurt your business in the long run. You need breadth to keep your customers engaged. So they've combined text messaging, text to pay, team chat, Google Review Collection. And now you can take advantage of their 3-month free trial period to make sure it's a fit for your business. Click here to get started today. Please support our sponsors. Etc. A derecho left 1 million without power in the Midwest Monday. Here's how they form. I've never heard of that. Derecho. Where the next billion internet users will come from. Mars. How the panic will shape the holiday shopping season. It's claws out in the hard seltzer wars. Photographer finds 120-year-old time capsule, develops the photos. Now you can Airbnb the lone surviving Blockbuster. There's a lone surviving Blockbuster? Awesome. The heartwarming tale of Swoop the Magpie. Massive snake found slithering through the New York City subway. Awesome. Clickbait. Gen Z twins left stunned by Phil Collins in the air tonight. Okay. History book. Egyptian Queen Cleopatra dies by suicide. 30 BC. Rest in peace, James Bond creator Ian Fleming. 1964. IBM personal computer is released. 1981. Largest ever Tyrannosaurus Rex discovered. 1990. Rest in peace, Hollywood icon Lauren Bacall. 2014. Imagination is the highest kite one can fly. Lauren Bacall. That's nice. Okie dokie. That's it for Sundry News. Thank you and good night.